The next person I'm going to ask to join me on the stage is Joan Grace. And this is, like a lot of the other parents, this is the first time that Joan is standing in public, and she has asked me to share some things with you about both herself and about her son, Jimmy. And the funny thing is not only did I have the opportunity to watch her grow up, but I actually had the opportunity to watch her brother grow up, and her brother actually made it on the boat that was next to my father's boat, and ended up actually becoming like another child of Captain Floyd Barnett. So this is hard for her, but we're going to go through this together, okay? And again, you have all of these people that are here today that are new support systems for you and your family. And she starts out by saying, I'm going to actually narrow this down a little bit because we're trying our very best to get all the parents and loved one stories in. So we're going to be taking some of this out, but just because the program is over does not mean that you do not have access to these individuals and with their stories. Please take time to talk with them when you see them out in the vestibule. Take time to get to know them better, get to know their lost loved one better, but more importantly, let them know that you are accessible to support them. She starts out by saying, hi, my name is Joan Grace. My son's name is Jimmy Grace. Jimmy grew up in Fortescue. Jimmy liked riding his bike and moped. Jimmy and his friends loved to jump off the docks in Fortescue into the creek and swim. They were called the dock jumpers. Jimmy loved to ride a four-wheeler with his brother Joe. They would ride every chance they got. Jimmy really liked the demolition derby. He was in it at the Cumberland County Fair one year. I'm sure if he had lived, he would have been in it every year. Jimmy enjoyed fishing. He worked as a second mate for the late Captain Don Pike on Fortescue Queen. He might have bought a boat one day. Jimmy enjoyed bowling with his brother Joe and his friends. Jimmy liked playing soccer with his sister Jo Marie. Jimmy was murdered on April 28, 2006. He was 20 years old. I am here so that you can hear Jimmy's voice. His life was brutally taken away from him as a result of violence. In February 2006, Jimmy got a job he really enjoyed. He quickly made friends with all his co-workers. Jimmy started hanging out with one of his co-workers. The co-worker decided to fix up Jimmy with his best girlfriend. Jimmy had a job he liked. He had just bought a car. It was a Friday night. He had just got paid. He with his new friends. Jimmy was happy. Jimmy, his co-worker's girlfriend, and her best friend were hanging out at the co-worker's girlfriend's mom's house. They rented movies that night. Jimmy has just met this girl. Jimmy was unaware that she had broken up with a boyfriend a few months earlier. This ex-boyfriend wanted to get her back and was jealous. Jimmy and his three new friends were sitting in Jimmy's new car. The ex-boyfriend snuck up, reached through the car window, and quickly and brutally stabbed my son Jimmy multiple times in the neck and chest with a knife. He then ran away. He didn't even know my son Jimmy. He didn't even know his name. My son didn't know him. Jimmy was in the wrong place at the wrong time. I'm going to move through this. Jimmy arrived at the hospital by ambulance. The paramedics listed Jimmy as a John Doe. This means they didn't even know his name and could not find his ID. When Jimmy was registered to the emergency room, his name was John Doe. Joni is actually an employee of the RMC, so it says, I am an employee of the hospital which Jimmy was taken to. They knew Jimmy. They saw Jimmy at the hospital before. Jimmy has friends that work at the hospital, but they did not recognize him. You see, Jimmy didn't look like Jimmy. Jimmy was tall and thin. The boy on the stretcher looked heavier. He was bloated. She goes on to talk about other things that went on at the hospital that night. But one of the things that sticks out to me that says, the doctor entered the room with me and my brother as she was sitting in the waiting room. At the head of Jimmy's stretcher were two police officers. They were there to make sure that no one touches his body. It is considered a crime scene. I was not allowed to touch my son. I couldn't give him a kiss. I could not hold his hand. My son dead on the stretcher is forever in my memory. My son is on the way to the morgue. I don't want him to leave me. I don't want to leave him. I can't leave him there. I don't want to leave the hospital. I can't leave my Jimmy all alone. I am numb, I'm crying, I want to scream. Why? I can't eat, I can't sleep. I have to make funeral arrangements. I have to pick out a casket. I want it to be the best casket for Jimmy. I want the beautiful wooden casket. I can't afford the beautiful wooden casket. I have to settle for a blue metal casket. What is Jimmy going to wear? Jimmy only wore a suit when he was a little boy on Easter morning, going to church. How do you go on without your child? I don't know. The strength in Jesus is what keeps me going day to day. This has not only affected me, it has affected my whole family. Our faith has kept us together, and it will keep us together forever. When I was asked to speak to you today, it was for the first time I have actually put my thoughts down on paper. It was not easy. I shed many tears to tell you that all of us who have loved ones that have been taken from us so unjustly will have peace and justice in heaven. I hold on to Psalms 10, for it reassures me that the one who is wicked will be brought to justice, and the one who is the victim shall be with the Father. Amen. To get me up each morning and go on with my own life is by the grace of God and the promise God will once again be united with my son Jimmy in heaven and live on in harmony. Please take time to talk with Joan. We're actually going to be finding a copy of a poem that one of Jimmy's friends wrote that was read at his services. She also has established a memorial scholarship fund for her son. So again, after the program, when you see Joan and her family out in the lobby, do a couple of things. Encourage them, find out about the scholarship program, encourage them. Thank you.